This is such a depressing video to make. Jesus. You gotta laugh, haven't you? I mean, because if you don't, then you probably break down and go insane. So the politicians and the public figures who have constantly said Brexit's going to be great because of blah 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 blah. Well, blah 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 is being debunked over and over and over again. In the beginning, it was, the EU tell us what to do. They don't tell us what to do though, because 98% of those laws and everything else we came up with, and the other 2% we agreed to. So it's like, hey, don't kill people. You agree not to kill people. It's kind of obvious, really. But then they shifted from that. They stop us from trading with the rest of the world. Oh my God. But they don't. And even that dickhead who runs Wetherspoons came out and said crap just like that. And he trades with the rest of the world. So clearly, that's not a thing. The EU's not stopping us from having trade deals with Australia or anywhere else because we have them. But we're not actively seeking out new trade deals because we just can't be bothered. That's the reality of it. And now we have people who are so monumentally incompetent that even though they want to do these things, they have no idea how to do them. Like 6 months ago, it came up in universities, a job advert. Hey, train to be an international negotiator. Bit late for that. Again, over and over again. People like myself saying, look, this is a serious issue with Brexit. It needs to be done. And nothing gets done. But it's okay because Brexiteers kept saying, okay, well, America will give us the great deal. Because for some reason, conservatives love America before the United Kingdom. How just look at Michael Fabric and Boris. Boris isn't American. But pick any number of conservative MPs and you'll see they're raging hard on for American Republicans. Anyway. But now this is all falling apart. Cast your mind back just briefly to before the referendum. Barack Obama came out and he said, look, we will have a deal with the United Kingdom. Of course we will. But the UK will be at the back of the line. We'll put a deal with Europe before you. And every single Brexit talking head lost their minds. They went crazy. Michael Pence, just a little while ago, said pretty much the exact same thing. Look, we want to deal with the UK, but we are going to favour a deal with Europe first. Oh, nothing but silence. Hypocrisy is what annoys me the most about politics. But again, what we hear from all the Brexit talking heads, the rest of the world wants to deal with us. And the rest of the world has said, no, get a deal with Europe and then we'll talk. There is a reason for this. The reason for this is because they need to know where our standards are going to be. If we are aligned with Europe, if we adopt European standards, which have been our standards for donkey's years, then they know what they're getting. If we differ from that, then is the food that we have to sell, is that going to line up with their food standards? Is Australia going to take peanut butter that has rat hair in it? That's important. These things are important. And that's why every other country around the world has said, get a deal with Europe and then we can talk. But again, Brexit politicians, they don't like admitting this. And specifically with the US have been all gung-ho for a deal with the UK, not for the UK's benefit. It will absolutely annihilate the UK, but for their own benefit. But now, because of the 5G Huawei thing, which I did a video when that first popped up, Now they're saying, yeah, actually we're kind of, yeah, no, you're back of the queue. Now again, with Theresa May, I didn't know if she was just incredibly ignorant or just bought and paid for, because relatively speaking, it's not hard to buy a Conservative politician. But you'd think even if she was ignorant, she'd listen to British intelligence. And you'd think that, well, Boris Johnson definitely won't, but you'd think that someone in a position of power would listen to their own intelligence agencies. Even if you hate the EU and you don't want to listen to them, even if you don't like the Five Eyes and you don't want to listen to them, you'd listen to your own intelligence experts saying, look, we really shouldn't have Huawei building this because it means the Chinese government will have a backdoor to everything. Of course, Boris Johnson doesn't care about that. Boris Johnson doesn't care about anything beyond Boris Johnson because he's a selfish, egotistical. I mean, I can keep going, but I'm doing my best not to swear. Not gonna fucking work, but I'm doing my best. But Boris Johnson continuing this deal that Theresa May was so adamant to push forward is really interesting. Especially as he's favoured his kingsmen, he's favoured the rest of America before the UK time and time again. So it's interesting to see. I have speculations. I personally think he's bought and paid for. The same people who paid Theresa May paid Boris Johnson. That's just speculation, but that would be the only reason why this man would push forward with something that he really doesn't give a toss about. I mean, seriously, this man doesn't care about his children. You think he cares about 5G in the UK? Have a word. But it does go to show yet another thing that Remainers, Ramonas, I suppose Rejoiners, warned about from the very get-go. All these things that Brexiteer politicians, these talking heads, kept pushing at you, kept yelling at you, this will happen, this will happen, this will happen. But it's not. Because when you start pulling that thread, there are a ton of terms, conditions, of consequences that happen. So Brexit is now no longer going into the doctor's office being told you have cancer and then you responding with fake news and walking off, which is an analogy I love using. Brexit is now being stranded on a ship in the middle of the ocean that's sinking and is now on fire. Are you going to drown? Are you going to burn to death? Well, maybe you'll get out on a lifeboat. Of course, the lifeboat isn't going to save everyone on that ship. People are going to suffer in the UK because of Brexit, and unfortunately there are still too many people who don't quite see how Brexit is going to destroy their lives. There is no benefit to leaving the European Union, and there is no sensible, rational thought of leaving under a Conservative government, let alone a Boris Johnson Conservative government. But that's the situation that we're in. Like I said, you gotta laugh, otherwise the reality of the situation will crush you. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like what I'm trying to do here, feel free to like, subscribe, and all the usual stuff. The best place to follow me and to keep up to date with what I'm doing is Twitter, BamGibson30. And if you'd like to support the channel, then you can go to The Great North, a fantastic clothing company based in Canada. They use a lot of recycled materials to make some really great merchandise. Using the promo code Ginger Archer, you can get 30% off of your order. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time.